Hi, this is Greg Hughes from 90 Second Website Builder. This is a video about the drawing tools. One of the things that makes 90 Second Website Builder unique among web design programs is its ability to allow you to create shapes. That's unique because normally when you're building a website, you need to bring in your images, something that maybe has been created in Photoshop or some other image editing program. And normally that's what you'll do in 90 Second as well. But additionally, you have this sort of shortcut for making quick images, we call shapes in most cases, by using these drawing tools that are shown here in the toolbar. I'm going to walk through these quickly because there's a number of them, and you'll actually have more fun just playing with these to see what they do, but I'll give you a quick overview. The first one on the list is called the banner tool. Now, you know what a banner is. A banner is a shape that looks something like this, and normally we would create your banner, like I said before, in Photoshop. This might be an advertising banner or whatever. Well, you can make sort of a simple banner with this shortcut by simply using the banner tool. You double click on it and you can put the text you want to put into here, my banner, whatever, your product name, and then use all of the styling tools that you would expect in 90 Second. For example, I can change the font to whatever I want it to be. And in this case, you can choose any font you want. They don't have to be web-friendly fonts because we're making an image. So we can pick any font we want that's in our system. Change the color of it, the boldness, the size, all the things that you would expect to do. And then you can pick a pre-built position. A lot of banners are 460 by 60. That's a standard banner size. If I do that, that's how big my banner is going to be, and I can't adjust the size of it if I do that. So I might want to choose fit to layout so that I can pick my own size. So anyway, you've got that option to do that. You can set the text left, center, horizontal. You can move to the top of the banner. You can offset it a certain number of pixels if you want within the banner. When you do that, you can see that it's moved over 50 pixels. So you have all of these characteristics you can set for the text. Under the style, of course, it's almost limitless. Whether you pick a gradient or import an image to be behind your banner from your own desktop, pick a pattern that's listed here, some of these standard patterns, or make it a glassy banner like this, and then pick the colors that you want that glass to be. You can do all of that here. Make a border, make that border fat. You can make a border dashed. If you play around it, you'll see you can create pretty much anything you want as far as a simple banner goes. You're not going to be able to make something as fancy as something you would do in Photoshop, but again, this is just a shortcut that would allow you to, make something quick and easy. And that's just the first tool. Then we've got the clip art tool. Clip art's kind of interesting. There's just some built-in clip art here, and if you drag the clip art tool onto the canvas, it opens up this library of all these shapes and, sort of pre-built webdings and wingdings and stuff they call them. So arrows and balloons and whatnot, stars. So if you wanted to just very quickly find a symbol of some kind, you would use this to do that. Here's a registered trademark symbol that you might need really quick, and so you would drag it in with this particular tool. And again, you can adjust all of the colors and effects, the borders, the way it looks is all absolutely controllable. Here's a border, and you can see I'm getting a preview of it here. So again, that's the clip art tool. So I'm going to close that or delete that and move on to the next one. We have a series of curve tools that are very similar. This tool called Curve Close allows you to click on it, allows me to just draw a curve, whatever I want. And when I'm done with my curve, when I double click on it, I end up with a sort of a closed shape. I double click on that. It's just, again, a way to make a shape that will be an image. You might want to highlight something or go around something. There's also the curved text, which is really interesting. Again, I just draw the curve that I want, double click when I'm done, and here I have this curve, this text that's on a curve. If I double click and I, let's put something in here, and again, change the size, change the color, do something dark here, you'll see that I've curved my text. What's really interesting about this tool, I find fascinating, is that the text actually will accommodate your change in shape here. It's almost weird how that works, but as you can see, I can adjust how that text curves just from the line that I drew. Very, very interesting tool. So there might be a place where you wouldn't want to bend text around a shape. You can certainly do that, and then again adjust all of the look and the effect of it, even an offset shadow if you wanted such a thing, the opacity of that, etc., etc. So that's the other curve tool. One more curve tool, then that's just basically a straight curve. So if you just want to draw a curve and double click when you're done, you can do that. You can make that, of course, a solid line. You can make it as fat as you want, the color that you want, and basically a way to draw a curvy line. And then, of course, speaking of lines, you can also draw some straight lines. So again, I'm just dragging that on here, double click when I'm done, and here's a line. It's a pretty common tool. What's cool about this is, let's draw another one here. I can draw a line. I'm dragging, and I'm going to double click when I'm done. There it is. I can bring up the line properties. Now you'll see what I can do with this is I can, besides change the color and the thickness of the line, which is great, I can also change the size. It could be, for example, a dashed line, and that would look like this. But the other thing I can do is I can also add ends to it. So I could put on one end, might put an arrow, and on the other end I could put a circle. And as you can see, they're pretty small right here. Let me do that again with a smaller thickness. There we go. See, you can see the arrow and you can see a circle. So, and I can move these around to, of course, whatever I want them to look like. So the line tool gives us lots of options for architectural type shapes. Let me delete this, move on to the next one. You can play with that and discover it. The scribble tool is not that much different than the curve tool. When you're done, you double click and you can just have a little bit more flexibility in what you can draw. There's also some other drawing tools here. One is called a polygon or polygonal tool, whereas if I select this tool and I draw a shape, double click, it will close that shape, a lot like the closed curve tool. Double click on it and I can affect the fill, make it a gradient from one color to the next. And again, I'm going fast here because a lot of these are similar. You get the idea. So we could create shapes with these things. Let's move on. Here, let me get rid of this. This text art tool is really fun. If you just drag this out onto the canvas, it gives you some starting text, and of course you would put whatever you want in there. I'll put my name. And you're now using text, and of course it can be any font you want because it's going to be an image. So you're basically taking text and turning it into an image. But there's some built-in styles. This is the way the text wraps. And then there's a gallery of styles here, and some of them get pretty complex. There's so many options. Actually, if you're not careful, you can make something that looks pretty cheesy. So let's do something simple here. If I just pick this one, and I could change the font, of course, if I wanted to. Something that's sensible, like this, and change the effect, all the effects that I want. I sort of like gradient effects or glassy effects. Let's just do that. I could put a border around it if I wanted to. In fact, let's just do that. Let's take a better font here. There we go, and see what happens. So you can see there was my little gradient effect, and there's my black border. So I can play with this all I want and change all of the styles. Then there's effects on top of that. So I could put a shadow behind this and color that shadow, decide how opaque that shadow is, how blurry that shadow is, and how far it's set. So that is the text art tool. And with it, as you can imagine, you can make a number of great, here's a pre-built one, just look at it real quick. And so this is, because it's text, you can use any font you want. So that moves us to the last drawing tool, which we call the shape tool. It's probably the most common tool to use among the drawing tools because it's really practical. There's going to be times when you are going to use boxes and shapes to separate areas on your website. I like to use this box that's got kind of a curved edge to it, and I can decide how round I want that. It defaults to a 20 roundness, as you can see right there, but I can set that even rounder if I want to, and it would look like that. So these just make nice ways to display information and images on your website, especially if you pick a decent color, maybe a gray, or what you could do is again, let's go with a gradient, and let's go from a dark gray to a light gray, and maybe a little border around that. and you can see we've made a nice box that can be stretched into place. And I could go copy paste, and I could put these boxes next to each other and line them up with the arrange tool if I want to, and be just a great way to display content on my website. So this particular drawing tool, the shape tool, is the most common. And of course, there's far more complex shapes to choose from than what I just did. I mean, there's an enormous number of possibilities here. I mean, you even got some you got sort of some silly things and some practical things, and you even got these cartoon talk bubbles, they're called, and again can be edited to look like anything you want, color-wise and transparency-wise, and etc. So if we picked glass red, glassy, that's a glassy red talk bubble. We could affect it with an offset shadow. Let's go offset by 5. Let's put a shadow next to that. You can see there's a slight shadow there. Let's make it more obvious. Watch this. See, there's the shadow, and you'll notice it's kind of transparent. That's because the opacity is set to 50. I want 100. Make it really opaque. You see, so again, that's part of the drawing tool. The shape tool is just a lot of fun, and so mess around with it. It's not the only way to work with images. It's just a shortcut. It's what makes 90-second website builder, again, rather unique because of this way to just quickly put together some images and shapes on your website.